Nope.
Not
Awesome! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Bourbon and Bitches. This is episode 11, and tonight we welcome our honorary bitch, Will, not even gonna try it, who is the founder of, and I'm part Italian. This is a disgrace. I know. So, of the Analytical Conservative blog, and also co-host and maestro of Beer and Bastards. And then we also have Miss Yvette Guinevere, aka Science Babe, an all-around badass who was here for our science edition, and hopefully we'll have as a recurring awesome pants to talk about all the things. Then we also have our lovely co-host, the always awesome anarchist in heels, Meg Gilliland. She is currently off. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
you can't see.
So
anyway, she is my former colleague with Liberty.me and is now the lead designer and developer / co-founder of CreativeDestructors.com. Lucy in the Sky Steigerwald might be the one who's typing. As you can hear it. I know I'm joking. So Lucy in the Sky Steigerwald is always her amazing self. She is a blogger at antiwar.com, shop wrecker and bringer of the noise. You can check her out at stagblog.com and her Liberty.me podcast, Politics for People Who Hate Politics. Awesome. Welcome, everyone. And ladies and gents, what are y'all drinking tonight? Don't be shy. Cheers.
Whiskey.
I got nothing.
Do we
Part
have
of my ill preparation for
do
this
we have
podcast.
Yvette? Is she waiting to get on air because she's having tech difficulties, or what happened?
Dehydrated, if you will. Sorry.
There we go. Woohoo! We'll alternate in and out. All right. So what?
Put her back.
There she is. Boom. Spreecast is fabulous, but sometimes because there's various different connectivity speeds, it gets a little hairy here and there.
Yay!
Awesome. Welcome back. No worries. So what's everybody drinking? That's the first question.
Thank you for sorry guys, thank you. Sorry for
nice.
I was
very nice. I like it.
Crown Royal whiskey. Because I'm not a bitch, I'm a
well
bastard,
played.
So I figured I might as well go with whiskey instead of bourbon. It is stuff for the ladies.
Right, because bourbon is such a lady drink, am I right?
That's America. I'm going.
One of them sissy chick drinks, bourbon.
I'm all about the Canadians right now. Actually, I like their.
Oh wait, can we just silence Will then? I mean, if that's how we're gonna start things off. You're not an American. Just get out. No, not you're conservative.
I know, right? I know. Get out. Go to Somalia.
I'm
gonna move.
Better not be.
He's drinking.
Wait, he's Canadian? You're Canadian?
No, I'm definitely American.
Everything.
I mean, if you consider New York City part of it.
Yeah, honestly, you really don't seem
that.
Canadian. Take that how you will, but you do not seem Canadian.
He lives in Southern California.
You seem meaner.
That's true.
Republic of California.
By the way, cheers before we get started. I'm actually drinking vodka, water, and lemon.
I
know.
That seems more
what is wrong with
believable.
Me? Trying to make that gym time count. So let's get started, guys. So guys and ladies. So jumping right in, y'all should know that I really do despise mainstream media talking heads like pretty boy Brian Williams. I don't like seeing people tumble from grace, but liars have less of my sympathy. He's obviously a professional at that. And this week, old Brian Williams was eviscerated by veterans groups and journalist outfits for lying about saying that he survived a deadly encounter while reporting from Iraq. He really lied about being more in danger than he was while downrange in the Iraq War. Veterans on the scene have long disparaged his account of this, harrowing survival, but it's just now coming to light. Despite the semantics and the back and forth that a lot of people have, kind of gotten into the weeds on over this, I mean, we don't know the specifics. I really don't care about the speculation. But do you think that the revelations of lies and manipulations from corporate media, household names like this, undermine the entire institution of scripted news? Or which I see going the way of the dodo anyway, considering that we have, most people getting their news from the internet. I continue to see that a rise. So is that something that we can look at people like this who are really household names and see them totally get destroyed by their false lies and pretense? And does that actually make scripted news less legitimate, or the people behind the scenes actually saying the continual nonsense that comes out of mainstream media? Does it delegitimize them personally, or does they take down the whole institution bit by bit by bit each time something like this happens? What do you guys think?
I don't think it'll destroy the whole institution, but at the same time,
Oh no, you froze. Yeah, no. Damn it. Sorry, guys.
Lucy, you go, and then I'll go.
It's gonna be one of those tech nights, isn't it?
I know Lucy has an opinion here.
It's gonna be one of those evenings on Spreecast. Oh, wow, this is problematic. I do have an opinion. I mean, I fundamentally, I saw some people reacting to this like they were alluding to, or like the takedown culture, like the Twitter culture of you made one joke and we're gonna ruin you and make you the #1 story on Twitter type things. This is not comparable to that. This is not part of takedown culture. This, for me, this is a man whose entire job was supposed to be to report the truth honestly, and we caught him bullshitting. And I'm not like a rosy-eyed journalism purist, but he deserves to kind of to go down for that, because I expect Hillary Clinton to be full of shit. I do expect the media to be full of shit, but I don't expect them to just blatantly lie.
I agree.
Stuff.
This is something I hate to see happen. I mean,
he does. He got
maybe
you
I'm
comfy,
an idealist, but I like to
being
see
a
integrity
cool,
in
auto-tuned guy,
I mean, you're
and
absolutely
he
right. The guy
deserves
deserves what he gets. You have one thing when you're an anchor, and certainly the time slot he's in is your credibility, and he just absolutely smashed that to pieces. I mean, it's similar to Dan Rather and the whole memo gate thing. I mean, after that, you're really no one's going to pay attention to what you have to say. You've smashed your credibility to pieces. It's time to get off the air. What else is he lying about? I think I heard today something about he was during Katrina. He was in the Ritz-Carlton, and there were gangs that were coming after him, and one cop saved his life, and he was watching bodies, float by the Ritz-Carlton. Who knows if he's telling the truth, what he's telling the truth about? You can't trust him anymore. He's all done, in my opinion, and it's sad. It's a sad thing to see.
Now, in terms of the mainstream media at large, the voice of God anchor thing, probably we're almost over that now, thanks to the internet. Brian Williams is kind of one of the lingering, oh, he's so full of gravitas and authenticity. And that idea is not very healthy for getting a good, detailed type of news, the type of news we don't have. Obviously, as Sheldon Richman and Justin Raimondo and other people have been pointing out this week, is Williams was part of kind of the people who totally dropped the ball on the war in Iraq and didn't do their due diligence and didn't do what they're ostensibly supposed to do, which was to be gee, should this war happen, instead of, ooh, we need to be embedded and wear flak jackets. Oh, fucking A. So, yeah.
I think I see Major Garrett ask tough questions, Ed Henry, but you don't really see a lot of that. And look at the media appearances he does. He did it with the gal that was in a Fruit Loop tub or something. You know what I mean? This guy does...
I I dispute that only because I hate the implication that, he talked to like a crazy internet person.
Let's say you don't care
that
about
brings
The
down The Office. Because
I just care about asking this guy the tough questions.
Smash
What's going
it to the
on
ground.
here? He's got a
Burn down
gallon
The
and a
Office.
tub full of milk with Fruit
I don't care,
Loops.
like,
Get with a real journalist that's going to
he's
ask the
bringing down the
questions.
Fruit Loop
I want to
shit.
know. You know, here's the media's the fourth estate. You know, rail this guy, somebody. You know, I didn't like George Bush either, but the media railed the guy. What happened to that? You know, it's a farce.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, no.
Well, they didn't.
He was a. Well, I mean, they did, but they didn't where it counted. Again with Iraq.
I mean,
they did it 5 years later.
Gee,
maybe that was a bad
Iraq.
idea.
Yeah, he pushed live.
It's true.
I still hear that. They nailed him on
Yeah, but
they
did not nail him the way they should have at all. Not at all whatsoever. And I want to hear that for as long as I possibly can. It infuriates me to no end that he is the loving grandpa painting shitty paintings, pretending like he's a Texan, Yankee import in the middle of my, the bumfuck areas of my state, good old backwoods place, and it's now this lovable, laughable guy. Like, no, sorry. I mean, this is
right.
This is bullshit. I mean, you don't get to basically check out. The buck stops here, my ass. Have a bad supporting cast that kill 1 million people. Sacrifice my relatives are dead. I mean, because of this bullshit war that meant nothing. And now you have an entire country imploding from within because you went to war half-ass. That's not acceptable. And it doesn't matter how many shitty paintings he paints of himself and his feet in a bathtub, he will never wash that blood off his hands. Ever. So you can run all the 5Kers for veterans as long as you want. You can pretend that you actually have taken a full moral accountability of what you were responsible and complicit for all day long. But until you actually step up and say, you know what, I made a mistake, and I let people who were wrong mislead me, I have zero respect for him. And Bush did lie, and a lot of people died, including people that I love. So, yeah, he can go bad places.
I don't really care about an apology. I just want him marooned on an island. Like, I'm not even going to say put him against the wall. I just give him hair of consequences. Give any elected leader any kind of consequences for being absolute fucking monsters. No, I mean, they still get to go to parties, they still have Secret Service protection, and they still get their respectful titles. We do nothing to de-incentivize being a complete horrible person. It drives me nuts.
No. He never saw jail time. Yeah. He got a full pardon.
Nixon, but he resigned. I mean, and that was the consequence.
I live in California. I drive by the Richard Nixon.
His consequences, his reputation in history is kind of sullied, as if he was awful, but he wasn't more awful than other people.
He just got to fade off into oblivion. He still probably got money for speeches.
Yeah.
We just never heard from the guy again. He just wasn't beloved. So I mean, he just that's the whole that was the biggest difference between him and people who didn't have a giant scandal. He just wasn't beloved. He got a full pardon.
Yeah, I think
the country needed to heal. Really?
Go ahead. I'm lagging. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, no, it's okay. It's like I mean.
I never used to be disgusted by that because, again,
And I mean, I know that libertarians love to find this out about me, and this is part of what turned me into a libertarian was that I worked on the Obama campaign and then saw the difference between the campaign promises and the realities of the administration. But this, all the wiretapping, the NSA really has shown, I don't even know how this stuff is legal. And Obama's never going to be held accountable for that. Bush launched wars that, again, I don't know how they're legal, and he's never going to be held accountable for that. These people are never held accountable in government, and I think that's part of.
I can agree with that, and
libertarians, because we don't.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Will.
Well, the people are supposed to hold government accountable. the people and the media hold government accountable. We're blaming politicians a lot, but they have really, I mean, if you look at, say, public choice theory, they're self-interested. They do things within their own self-interest, and we allow them to do so. I think it's generally an apathetic public is probably certainly one of the causes of all of this. I don't know. I think that's why I do what I do. I'm sure that's probably why you guys do what you do, is to try to get some of this information out there. You know what I mean? Certainly market principles, like with Nixon and Bush. I don't know if it was so much Bush's war policy, though. I hated the Democracy Project and nation building. It's an awful idea, always was. But what I did hate was the mantra of, I think, his entire presidency was with the bailouts, when he said, I have to abandon the free market in order to save it. I think that explains a lot about the Bushes, especially with Jeb Bush. I think they want to centralize power in certain respects. I think they're out of touch, and I think we're the people are
it makes sense. I think Glenn Greenwald, in his book Liberty and Justice for Some, really, really nailed this paradigm shift that took place, pretty much, I would say even early 20th century, if not before, but it came almost institutionalized gradually by, but it was progressive, but it wasn't just progressive. It was also this change of, there's a rule for us up here, the rich and connected elite, regardless of your party, and then there's rules for everybody else. So there look how aggressively they pursued the drug war, and then you are an individual that's, in a suit and tie on Wall Street, and you're doing blow for days, and no one's ever going to raid your apartment unless you've somehow harmed other power structures that can enable that to happen. I mean, there's a lot of injustice, and it is liberty and justice for some. There's a total inequality of political power, and the law follows suit with that.
Right. Right. Well, let me add to that. You
not just political.
You said 100 years ago, that's the start of the progressive movement. And prior to that, you're talking about basically a ruling class in D.C. But prior to that, these people didn't serve as many terms. They weren't career politicians. Prior to the progressive movement, being in Congress or being an elected official was public service. It was a demotion. They were anxious to get back into the citizenry, which was a promotion. During the progressive movement, when they infiltrated these institutions, it became what we have now is a ruling class. You have politicians in there for years. They're out of touch. They're not subject to the laws they pass. Look at Obamacare. Look how many times they've tried to get out of being subject to their own laws. It was entirely the progressive movement, the infiltration of these institutions, the Supreme Court, most definitely, Congress abdicating duties to the executive branch. Ever since then, we've seen government consolidate. You had the passage of the 17th Amendment around that time, 1913, and also the promulgation of the Federal Reserve. So, I mean, this all happened with the progressive movement, which stemmed from Germany under Otto von Bismarck, moved to Britain, and then came to the United States, the Fabian Socialist movement. They did so gradually. That's a great point. And I mean, we're seeing the repercussions of that today. And to be honest, the right in this country, the classical liberals, they don't really have a voice in government today. And if they do, it's so few that it's really, I mean, they're really on the outside looking in right now. And there's no difference between the Republican or Democrat Party. They're just looking to increase the scope of their power at all of our expenses. And when you have a guy, say a Ted Cruz, a Rand Paul, a Mike Lee, Louis Gohmert, and so on and so forth, they paint them to be crazies. Constitutional extremists and so on and so forth. So that's a huge problem, and I agree. But it's a total progressive movement.
I think I think there is a big problem though with the only people who get power within their own party might be the more extreme ones, and it's partially because of the problem with people being primaried out. And I'm sure everyone here is familiar with it. But like the way you get to win your election in the primaries is by campaigning towards the base and saying I'm more liberal or I'm more conservative than the other guy, and then you have to shift gears and say, oh no, I'm more moderate, and try to win the independents. So the people who are running the party, their own parties might not be the people who would win it if we had a slightly different system. And I remember when I worked in the Obama campaign, seeing everybody on both sides change gears radically after the primaries. I'm like, what do these people actually believe? and who would win if we didn't have the primary system that we have in place right now. So, I mean, I think it's a very different system that than what we would have if we didn't have the Electoral College, and than what we would have if I think if people weren't trying to win the base and then the general election separately. So these are things that I don't think we always take into account. So I think if we just let the politicians I think represent their views honestly.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more radical. I think, Will, an interesting thing about your slight pessimism there is that there's been a little bit of a resurgence in the last 10-15 years of actual individuals. A lot of it brought upon by Ron Paul running and his very local grassroots activism, and what that led to in combination with the Tea Party, and how that actually influenced people getting into powerful positions in government. Like, I actually see more hope now than I did years ago. And that comes from very little to do with the actual political process, because it's never going to go anywhere. I mean, we can rail against the state all day long, but it does exist, and it will continue to be there until it no longer does. So it is very relevant, and we should really pay attention to the politics that go on within it, and vote if you feel like you need to influence a position. I prefer to go after issues and eviscerate them on things that matter to me issue-wise, and then go vote local. So DC politics make me want to stab things. But what I do like is the future of innovation and the future of tech, and how there are all of these, unique startups and, very original individuals that are actually creating the world of tomorrow, which I think will eventually make politics completely irrelevant. And that actual irrelevance comes from being out-innovated. I mean, when it takes you, I asked this question when we were doing the crossover episode, but when's the last time you went to a government office? And what was it for? And how long did it take? Last time was getting my marriage license 4 years. No, wait, actually. I got my CCW renewed, okay? That was a private company that I went to. I didn't need to go to the state. I did a mail-in. There was nothing that I dealt with the state for. Will, what about you? The last thing, you're reading the chat, and I see you.
I'm sorry, say that again.
What is the last thing that you actually went to the state for, and what was it? How long did it take? What was the last encounter you had with the state?
Oh God, I don't know if I had an encounter with the state. The last time might have been it might have been the DMV years ago to get my picture taken when I came out to California. But ever since then, I just use AAA.
Oh God.
I don't really. I try not to deal with that. I don't
California
do it.
DMV.
Don't do it. Nope.
Yeah, it's horrible out here. It's like, I think when I moved out here, it was like 5 hours. So, I had to, this was interesting. By the way, chat, tell me if you can hear me, because they were bitching that my volume was too low. This is interesting. I'm trying to please people. Yay, they can hear me now. Good. You're welcome. Try to do what I can. A few weeks ago, yes, I am a shill. So this is a few weeks ago. I did something on my website. I tried to get Petco to pull some dangerous pet products. They had 13% alcohol in one of the pet products. It was a product to calm down dogs. It said that it worked. The homeopathic components of the products. And then I promise this is relevant to the conversation, not just bragging. The way that it's called Good Dog. Someone just asked that in chat. And the way that I managed to, after emailing them, talking to them on the phone, and making a video just pointing out that the stuff was had alcohol in it and was really bad for dogs. I ended up making a video of me getting drunk on the stuff to say, look, this can get a human drunk. It's bad for dogs, because dogs are, they metabolize alcohol differently. Even if you just give them a little bit, it's going to cause brain and liver damage. The video went a little viral, hit media, and they yanked it. After that, a New Hampshire state senator contacted me and said, we're going to try to enact legislation to get this, banned. I'm like, please don't. Which, you would think, given my position on it, I would want that to be banned. The problem wasn't that we needed new legislation. The problem was that we had old legislation that allowed homeopathic products to be on the market with bad labeling. So if we could get the labeling change, or the labeling laws that allowed homeopathy to be on the market labeled the way they were, then we wouldn't have to enact new legislation, just get rid of the bad legislation. So I've said it before, I'm not, I guess, the most strict, borderline anarcho-capitalist. What I want is to not have new bad legislation put on the market with unintended consequences that allows stuff like 13% alcohol pet products, to be listed with 13% alcohol listed as an inactive ingredient. So, they wanted to enact, new piecemeal legislation. Instead, get rid of the bad legislation. So, they're going to put this they wanted to put this new legislation on the market. What's the point? It's just a grandstand. This is ridiculous.
That was interesting. I didn't know that about dogs, so I learned something. I won't let my dog ever drink again.
It's really not good for them. And when I started the campaign, a lot of people who were vet techs and veterinarians said, "Oh my God, this is a product." And they had the alcohol listed as an inactive ingredient. I'm like, and I think the point that I made in my video was, well, it's active enough that I just ordered Domino's. So that's a decision. But yeah, I'm sure that Domino's is going to sue me for that. But my defense is that I have celiac disease, so that was a really bad idea. So yes, exactly. I have the real gluten disorder. But yeah, it was, I have oh my God, it's horrible. So whenever someone says, I'm cutting down, whenever someone says that they have that they're cutting down on their gluten, I'm like, shut the fuck up. You don't want to cut down on your gluten voluntarily. It's horrible. I miss everything.
Rice pasta is really tasty though.
But yeah, it's like, there are some things that are almost not horrible, but nothing compares to fucking bread, man. It's delicious. So, but yeah, that's whatchamacallit. Like, that's the thing with dealing with people in politics. They're doing this to grandstand. They're not doing this to it looks better for them to enact a new law than it does to repeal old bad laws.
They're definitely
why not get rid of the old one instead of having a new one on top of another one?
You have innovation people are busy. They don't have time. We're on I have been moving and shaking constantly between writing, having business meetings, talking to clients. I've been moving and shaking constantly all day long since 7 a.m. today. I have not done anything with the state in years. Why, thank you. But I have literally, I have shit to do. I don't have time to go to a state invitation and sit around and wait for shit. The more you have to wait on the state, the more irrelevant they become, sadly, as technological innovation moves forward and actually takes more of your intellectual and time real estate. People are going to innovate alternatives to state institutions, and a lot of that will come with decentralization. And of course, there was always going to be that, that loose ruling authority, but I see a lot of power, hopefully, just disintegrating. Over time, look at where we were 10 years ago, and imagine where we will be 10, 15, 20 years from now. With all of the tech, can you, what? Look at this.
I wish I had your optimism.
Look at this, dude. I pulled up my timehop.com, right? From 5 years ago, and I had a freaking giant phone that was like this. It wasn't anywhere close to how quick and fast this is. 3D printing wasn't even something I had ever even heard of. Oh
my God. Yeah, it's...
I get it, but
it's beautiful.
How does this?
Oh my God! I fucking love capitalism, man.
But ask yourself this: we have Obamacare, clearly in violation of the law. You have the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. You have these things that are just so dishing out these really these
And
regulations that are such a burden on the
they
market.
will make
What's
things
the
so
phone going to do to that?
miserable for so many
You know what I
people
mean?
who don't have time for that misery. That they're going to, no, that's human potential.
I hope you're
Like,
right.
there's so many disruptive innovators right now that are going to be like, hey, I have a better solution than you standing in line for 45 minutes and paying $3,000 for insurance. I mean, if you look at movies like one with Matthew McConaughey, Dallas Buyers Club, great example, right? Of course, now you have the police state that crashes into people's homes and steals their property instead of this old school line at a crappy motel in, albeit my beautiful city of Dallas, right? But you will always have disruptive innovators that will use whatever resources are available around them to create industry for themselves. And they will do so because the government is blocking or hampering or slowing down innovation and service. It's a natural repercussion.
Well,
Right.
now, well, here's a question. Here's a question now. I would have thought that having, and I used to work as an analytical chemist at a pesticide company. Now I run Science Babe full time because shill, motherfuckers. Anyways, you would think that having government regulations would help consumer confidence, right? It would say, look, we have it regulated so that new drugs we're putting onto the market are safe, so that the levels of dangerous byproducts in the pesticides are safe. If we put the regulations in the market and tell you we're making things safe, consumer confidence would go up, right? Instead, and we put these, and I say this as a former liberal, and I'm kind of, everyone kind of has the direction they lean from libertarianism. I still kind of lean a little to the left. I mean, I'm far to the left socially. I'm about middle of the road fiscally. But when we put most of these regulations in the market for the left because they say we have to make these things safe, which is good, right? We don't want toxins. And hold on, not that. The government. I mean, because here's the thing. Let me finish. Not done. Let me get there. I'm getting there to the libertarian rage point of this rant. And this is why I'm a libertarian. But I mean, and this is me speaking as a scientist too. But I mean, you want to know what's safe. And most of these things are put in there. As a chemist, I want to know what's safe for me to put into a product, right? And these are things that the chemists look at and go, okay, what's safe, what's allowable, when I'm working out my new product. But like when, it's after we say, okay, this is safe, we can do this, you would think that the people would say, all right, we trust you, this is, we, quote unquote, we the liberals, wanted our safe products. We wanted these regulations to be put into it. After they put all these regulations into it and we make these products according to all the laws they put in, they still say, oh, it's toxic. What? Like, this makes me so mad. Because, how many more regulations do they want? They just don't, there's no pleasing this group of people because they want a bigger government. They want more regulations on the products that are put into the market. And after they put the regulations on, it's not good enough. So, I mean, I feel like it doesn't improve consumer confidence. They don't trust the government. They don't trust the companies making it. So I don't know if it's they don't trust the government or they don't trust the companies. And here's the thing: I've worked as do they not trust the scientists? Do they not trust the people? Because it made me wring my hair out, and it's part of the reason why I run Science Babe, so that I can humanize the scientists for the people to say, look, I use my own products. I know the people who are working on it. But, at the same time, I don't think that regulations even give people consumer confidence. I think on some level we need them because it can standardize, and tell people, look, we're eating this stuff too. We're putting these products into the market for our own children and for our own family to have. We wouldn't put, here's the level of not, unsafe stuff that can be, in the supply. But it kind of worries me that even after the regulations are put on the market, people still don't trust it.
I'll make the case that regulations actually hurt the market and hurt people. The only reason the politicians or government has regulations is at the behest of special interests usually, and it harms competition. It creates barriers to entry for new businesses to enter into the market. Therefore, it hurts the marketplace, meaning that the only check on the market is competition. The only thing that protects both the worker and the consumer is competition, and regulations hinder that. And usually it's at our expense. Regulations hurt protections that actually help us. So I don't see many the market regulates itself perfectly fine. I don't see why we need a majority of the government regulations we have now. That's my point. Regulations hurt the market economy, hurt people. They don't help anybody.
I would disagree. I think we need some, but I don't think we need them to the point that we're in, because I mean, even at a job I was at, I saw regulations hurt them because, like, I think at some point we had a regulator come into to a job I was at, misunderstand that I think somebody told a government regulator or just a government inspector that we've been cleaning glassware. This is ridiculous. They just asked how we clean glassware. So this is nutty example. Just said, yeah, we treat it with bleach. He took that to mean that we were treating pesticides in a certain way. We had our entire plant shut down for like a month because, again, someone from the EPA thought that we were disposing of pesticides in a way that we weren't cleared to be doing. Got a huge fine.
Right.
Business was held up for a month. So I mean, these are things that regulations do hold up because of just the way regulations are written. So I mean, sometimes they're there to keep workers and the consumer safe, and sometimes they're just silly. Sometimes they need reevaluation.
Line between what's actually an advantageous regulation and what isn't, but most, I would say, cost benefit scenario.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I say this as somebody who's worked in heavily regulated industries. I understand, like, I mean, I think saying across the board regulation is bad is like saying it with a broad stroke. It means you might not have seen up front or up close what they are. I mean, I've seen them. I think that on some level, not a bad thing to have some of them because they kind of help give us, as a scientist who works with these things, some guidelines. Like, I like having my MSDS sheets saying what the LD50, what the TD50 of these things are. But at the same time, when they do hamper the ability to do work, that's when we need to say, whoa, maybe we put something into place that we didn't understand, because whenever you put a regulation into place, whenever you put a new law into place, there can be unintended consequences. And that's why I think we need to be very careful.
I think that's how they pick winners and losers with these regulations, in my opinion.
I like to think people have good intentions. I do like. I mean, I never like to think that people wake up in the morning looking to make someone's day miserable. But then again, I'm an optimist, so it's. I mean, I have people who outright hate me for what I do, and I'm still an optimist.
Does have, these checks too. I mean, look at Consumer Digest, these things that we used to have, these private publications that rated these businesses. There was a market demand for it, and the market created it. I just don't see government that just has these nefarious motives every single time. And it's at the behest of interest groups. They go in there and they rail against small businesses, these competitors, and it hurts us. I think the market can handle these certain checks. Insurance companies can handle a lot of this. Private property rights can handle a lot of it. I mean, and here I'm the resident conservative here, but I mean, I think the market has a check on a lot of these powers. And in my opinion, yes, the government can regulate certain externalities. I won't deny that. Private property disputes and stuff can go along with the Coase theorem, in my opinion. I might be getting a little bit too involved here, but I think a lot of this stuff can be handled without government. That's my opinion. I think the market can deal with it. Certainly in those cases and regulations, I think so. Call me crazy.
Yes, we are
that's
actually.
me nodding.
I'm sorry.
Hey, Tiffany, are we going to ever get over to Libertarian Sextivism?
My
just
German
because I keep looking at it
Shepherd
going,
just tried to dig out all of the ham that we threw away from the refrigerator earlier. So my husband, as I'm like miming over here in the corner, no! I was a little distracted there for about 2 minutes because she's very conniving and deceitful. So excuse me. But yeah, we can definitely get into that. So great summary though, guys. That's actually I completely disagree with you both on some points, but I think that's a good topic for next time to kind of get into it. Because again, I think regulation should be It really was. It's a refreshing opinion. Absolutely. Yeah, it's good.
And it was a good discussion. I
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you, Will.
have like 15.
It's people.
We have
people
like
can
15
disagree on politics
questions
without hating
that
each other.
people have
It's
asked
so
that are actually
nice.
really thoughtful. So let's jump on this and then get to some questions as we before we wrap up. So porn and activism. So sextivism, which I guarantee you I did not coin, but Free Cats only allows 40 characters in their title, and it kind of works. So anyway, so
I like it.
Belle Knox, aka Miriam Weeks, is and was an actress in adult films, and she was outed by her co-eds at Duke, for those that recall. And lately, she has recently ramped up her efforts to actually legitimize and remove the stigma of her message that sex and freedom don't go hand in hand, that actually sex activism and freedom activism are very, very comparable. Though I'm probably one of the most sexually conservative people here, besides Will, of course, the in-house conservative, on this panel, I support her. I think she's actually doing a really good job of giving, media is going to try to eviscerate her as long as they can. But it doesn't matter how many, cocks are on her face. She makes really good points. And when the media's in her actual, like, sitting down and interviewing her, yeah, it's real. She's articulate. She's obviously a very intelligent young woman, and she's obviously a businesswoman. So I love it. I'm like, get it, girl. This is fantastic. Do it. Do you? I mean, like, as libertarianism moves more into the mainstream, and we can call it whatever we like, anarchism, classical liberalism, conservatarianism, whatever you want to call it. Freedom, ideology, and the concept of either limited government or no government is becoming very popular, and that is a grassroots effort. So as that moves more into the mainstream, do you think that given the popularity of pornography, that, freedom fights and the workers for sex, the rights for sex workers like Weeks help us get more attention? And is that attention negative or is it positive? Because I see conservatives very hampered, the Republican Party very hampered by this puritanical nonsense about sex, and so is the left. I mean, look at their reaction to the campus rape epidemic. It's been, the woman is drunk and she can't make choices, so it's the guy's fault. I mean, it's very puritanical on both sides. I'd like to see that bust wide open because it's 2015. But do you think she has the potential, not just her personally, but more people that get involved in this as it moves into the mainstream? Is it a good thing or a bad thing for the popularity and the mainstreaming of liberty thought or libertarianism? Get it, girl.
Oh, I have opinions on this. Well, I get busted. I get busted all the time because of my page's title being Science Babe. Because, I mean, you guys know me. I don't take the babe thing seriously at all. I constantly post pictures of myself with no makeup making derpy faces. But, I mean, here's the thing. I think whenever we tell someone how they have to represent women, we're kind of being anti-feminist. I don't blog about the feminism thing at all because it's not the point of view of my page. But I think when you tell someone they're not allowed to be sexual and they're a woman, or you tell someone that sex is dirty, I think you're kind of putting them into a box and you're putting your own opinions on them. And I think, what, she's a porn star, like, that's fine. Like, everyone, I think when someone says, you're not allowed to be a porn star and be a libertarian, like, what the fuck is wrong with being in porn? It kind of like it tells me you're trying to say sex is dirty. Number one, only if you do it right. Number two, you're trying to cover up the fact that you probably watch porn. I'm gonna guess about 95% of the people who are trying to shame her for this watch porn. So, I mean, look, you don't like what she does for work on some level? Too fucking bad. Don't tell her she's a bad representative for the Libertarian Party. Like, she's not running for president. She's not dating you. She's not, she's not I don't know. She's not representing all women. She's just doing her own thing. Like, I get told constantly because I swear like a fucking sailor that I'm bad for representing all women. I'm not representing all women. I'm representing me. She's doing her own thing. Let her do it. And you know what? She's smart. She's doing what she wants. This is fine. It's absolutely fine. To be a porn star and be a libertarian. Telling her that she can't do this because she's a girl, because of her profession, I think that's the antithesis of feminism. So it's like saying that she can't do this because she's a woman, because of X, Y, or Z, because of her gender. It's very anti-feminist, and I think they kind of have this all wrong. So I don't know if it's a libertarian thing. I don't know if it's a gender thing. It probably is a gender thing because I never hear male porn stars attacked like this. And I get a little bit of sexism towards my page too, because people like there are pages like the Food Hunk. Nobody ever goes after his looks. There are pages with men who do similar things to me. Nobody ever goes after the looks thing, or nobody ever goes after the sexuality. They always do this with the women. So you know what? Do your fucking thing, girl. It's wonderful. And keep enjoying your career in porn because eventually gravity's going to happen. And you're a very talented young porn actress. So I love what you're doing. I love that you're a libertarian. And I love that you're following me on Twitter, Belle Knox. So fucking good for you.
Actual, maybe human female pornographic actresses will be on a premium, but I'm just saying, sex robots, man. Why do you actually need to watch porn?
Do not say that. Pornography is wonderful.
A sex robot that looks and feels like a human being. 20, 30 years away. Just wait. It's coming. It's coming. Pun intended. Anyways, continue.
I have real sex too, but I like porn sometimes because porn is, I don't know if you know, but pornography is video of people having sex. It's wonderful.
But sex robots.
Yes, I said that on camera. I mean, I'm just saying it's a thing, and it's wonderful that people do this. I mean, after this is over, I'm going to indulge in some very delightful sex. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with sex with human beings too, but occasionally watching people doing it, that's great.
Okay,
so may the God that I don't believe in bless Belle Knox for what she does. So and if people want to shame her,
divide ideologically concerning sex, right? I know, but
and the puritanical ones are wrong. Okay, they have sex too.
Like, hey, we should.
Their parents had sex. That's why they're here.
Does that actually delegitimize the liberty opinion? I mean, that's the contrary view. Is that, oh wow, people have never even heard of libertarianism. They don't know what it is at all. Whatever. They just are barely getting exposed to it. Their first exposure was Ron Paul, and the way that the mainstream media, how they cook things up, is making it look like we're all crazies, right? Oh, Ron Paul, crazy Uncle Ron, right? And now you've got, this girl that they're going to put everywhere. I support her. I'm just being the devil's advocate, right? So what you'll have is alternate positions saying, hey, now this is your person that's really not a representation wholesale of libertarianism, but we're going to put her up that way everywhere, all over the media, and make it seem like libertarians care about two things, drugs and sex. So that feeds into that puritanical ideology that the conservatives have held power over so well. And I'll tell you right now, as a Southerner, do not underestimate the power of the assholes in mass that literally chose Rick Santorum. This is a big voting bloc that needs to be persuaded away from total country. This is literally they can come over to the light side. I have personally been, I hope, instrumental in coaching them and being like, no, this is why you're a hypocrite. This is incorrect.
But and you're aware that Rick Santorum had
He's
sex
in
at
a-
least 7 times. He has 7 kids.
I mean, let's not go down the rabbit hole.
They watch
again,
porn.
pun intended, of
They do it
making
actually
porn
8
sex
times. 'cause there
life.
was one
Like you
stillborn.
do have, like you will have
I mean-
people once she gets into, type of a position where they'll say, oh wow, this is libertarianism, and use it exclusively as a representation to delegitimize the movement. I think that's a relevant criticism. I still say go more power to her.
Here's the thing. Online pornography, do you know how much online pornography makes? As much as Monsanto. They're both about a $13-14 billion annual industry. Don't tell me that people aren't watching porn.
I don't even know.
This is a big industry. People are paying a lot of money for this.
I don't know. You lost me.
Oh my god, great.
Will,
Okay, sorry,
get out.
We should probably actually take questions.
Get out.
I'm sorry. That was
We can't be friends anymore.
Will, I'm sure you have many opinions on this, and Lucy too, so please sound off, and then we should at least take some questions if you guys want to choose. And there's quite a few. Austin, with your, was told there would be science, babe. He asked like 3 questions. I love it. Does anyone want to chime in before we move on? I think there's some.
Oh dear.
Lucy and
Austin.
Nope, you're still muted. There you
go. I basically agree with Yvette, but like the libertarians, there's no like magical stance on like porn stars in libertarianism. Like you don't have to be like really jazzed about Belle Knox, but like the idea that we should worry about it also is ridiculous. Like you don't have to have any positive opinions on her career or negative ones. She's a person who is a libertarian.
Right on.
And she's
Nice.
relatively young, and she's relatively libertarian. And we do all agree that what she does.
I second
everything
everything Lucy just said, believe it or
even
not.
if you
I don't
don't
really
like
care what
she
this girl
does,
did.
which is you're
Any
allowed to
publicity
not
is
like
good
it.
publicity.
There's no reason to act,
libertarian. Maybe it's
Exactly.
not going to make anybody, I'm not a libertarian anymore because of Belle Knox. It's just people will look at it. Maybe what's a libertarian? Maybe they'll hear about it.
Well, I like it because she's actually moving and shaking in several different circles. Pun not intended. Like she's actually a very intelligent young woman, and no, I mean it's great. Like I think that is very attractive. That actually makes her more attractive as someone who could actually advocate for sex workers that are completely abused by the system. And there are women that are wholly taken advantage. Yeah, they are wholly taken advantage of and don't have her public platform at all, that haven't leveraged any market opportunity to actually be public, that are literally, I mean, if you break open the trade of sex work and make it legitimate, how many lives would be saved? How many women would actually, I mean, it's disgusting that we do not have this level of freedom in the United States of America.
It's huge.
And it doesn't matter. But we don't want any one person representing libertarianism. If you are a libertarian, represent it in how you represent it. That's how you make, I mean, that's the future, is individualism and freedom and opportunity and actually going out and getting shit done and then saying, yeah, I'm a libertarian. Wait, hold on. The dude I met that was a 3D printing startup manager and then this porn star, whoa, 2 totally different spectrums. Maybe libertarianism is about individualism. That's how you spread it mainstream, is by saturation. And saturation is through all shapes and sizes. Mainstream adoption, through saturation. Absolutely. And that comes from movers, shakers, evangelists, and people who are loud as fuck. So, and that's great. That's great. Get it, girl. I love it. Okay, we actually should ask questions. By the way, thank you everyone for asking so many questions. They were really, really good. We actually have like 10, which would be like 3 hours. So we can't answer them all. I'm sorry. I know. So I actually put one up on the screen. Yeah, if we keep our answers short. So let's try to keep our answers short. We can go for another 10, 15 minutes if you guys have. That's not too crazy. We just don't want to go 1.5 hours or 2 hours or anything like that. So let's do the next 15, 20 minutes if you guys are cool with that. And try to answer as many as possible. So should libertarians support the move to a basic income in order to eliminate massive waste and bureaucracy from the government? And that was Joshua Tonica that asked that.
I don't know if I understand that.
Basic income.
Like a minimum
Lucy,
income?
do you have a succinct description of basic income? Because I can butcher it with my dogma.
I'm very confused.
But go ahead.
Well, a basic income is like eliminating welfare, eliminating a lot of the red tape and just passing out, $10,000 or I don't know, like some figure that gets bandied about. And they also talk about, it's easier to just give someone homeless housing instead of all the other stuff. The idea is to cut around all of the overhead and the bureaucracy and the system that is welfare. And to answer that, for me, definitely libertarians as a whole should not support it because it's too actively supporting a state. I can see how it's tempting because, in theory, okay, it's not the libertarian ideal, but it might be better. But be really careful when you start advocating for this kind of angle because, you know it's going to come on top of the shit we already have. Like, they're not going to cut everything else out and do this. It's just going to be piled up on the shit we already have.
In my opinion, why don't we just get rid of
so just be careful
the
when you start advocating
from the
for
government
another
and just go
state
back
thing,
to the market?
because you're
I don't
going to get all the
understand
state things,
who
not
provides
just
the basic income. What's it based
one.
on? Is it based on the individual's production, supply and demand? I don't get that. Who provides this basic income? That's where I'm lost. Yeah, I mean, who provides it? Let the market provide. Get rid of the waste and bureaucracy from the government. Let the market dictate where what the wages are.
Well, there's that.
Right? Okay.
Tax.
I mean, isn't Friedman's proposal of
It's
a negative
not
income
supposed
tax
to be
similar,
even for,
or the
like,
earned income
libertarian
tax credit
moderates.
that we have
It's not
now?
supposed to be like ideal.
I think that's similar in
It's
a
just
way.
supposed to be
It will never
potentially
and it will
better
never
than
exist.
exactly
It will never
what we
exist
have right
exogenous
now
of
in
any
terms
other
welfare,
aspects of the
etc.
welfare
That's
state.
the idea.
So in my opinion, I don't see.
I think it's ludicrous. Yeah, okay, go ahead, Yvette. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, my answer is just no. No, my answer is just no. Fuck that shit. No. So moving on.
Yeah.
It's like we need to get through a few questions. I'm really hungry. So let's just carry on. No.
Any different situation of tempting the devil than welfare, than the New Deal was.
Right. Exactly.
All right. See a new question up from Austin Peterson.
Did anyone else lose her?
Oh,
why don't we just?
Where'd she go? Yeah, I lost her. Let's see. So new question. What does everyone think about the fact that Wall Street Republicans would support Hillary Clinton over Rand Paul?
Answer the next question. Okay, so that I actually was just saying that.
You're back! Yay!
So, what does everyone think about the fact that Wall Street Republicans would support Hillary Clinton over a Rand Paul in 2016? That's a lot of money. We all know that these cunts really just bought their industry through regulations, wholesale. They own a shit ton of wealth and capital and industry and the decision making that protects all of those sectors. So, I mean, the fact that you would have that doesn't surprise me, but I'm curious. I mean, what do you guys think?
I'm suspicious of anyone who Wall Street supports. And I don't support either of these candidates at the moment.
Describing an ideology to Wall Street, they only care about what they can get out of whatever candidate that runs. And I think they'd get far more out of Hillary Clinton than they would Rand Paul. She's more of a corporatist than Rand Paul is, that's for sure. So I think that Wall Street Republicans, big money people, would support Hillary over Rand Paul, in my opinion.
Yeah, but isn't that what cunts do? They don't know what they can get out of...
neither of these are my candidate, though, at least not at the moment.
Sorry.
Hey, cunts. Don't speak
It was really rude.
Don't
And I'm
speak ill of
probably
the cunt.
lagging
It's my
worse
favorite
now.
body part. I use mine every day.
I'm just gonna.
What do you
I'm
think?
Not you.
I'm just looking forward to shaming my liberal friends who are going to support Hillary Clinton, even though she's going to be way more of a hawk and way more of a drug war, basically corporate asshole than Rand Paul in 2016. If that happens, my liberal friends are going to they're going to despise me because I'm going to have to tell them that Hillary Clinton is a corporatist biatch.
So Lucy.
And
Lucy.
she likes war, and if she ever changes on the drug war, it's going to be because every other person has changed their mind first.
Do you think Wall Street would get more out of Hillary than they would out of Rand Paul?
Maybe the drug war is bad. Oh man, and they'll all be like, "Oh, Hillary, she wears pants and she's a feminist. It's awesome."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the focus. I'm pretty sure that's what the focus of the question was. So yeah, that's good.
Probably. I mean, that makes sense to me. That bodes with my understanding of the world.
So we have a couple more, and then I know Yvette's like, bitches, I am hungry for GMOs. Give me my potatoes. Yeah. Thank you very much.
God, I hate her so much.
So, yes.
I'm sure that's
absolutely.
What it is.
So we have another one.
I live in Southern California. I have
Meg
Mexican.
Gilliland asked, the homosexual agenda, for or against? Now we just have to troll you. Come on.
There's a homosexual agenda.
I think that's all a Will question. Go, Will. Go, Will. Go.
They wanted to decorate tastefully?
I'm for the individual agenda. I don't know why sex acts
definitely
dictate.
For it.
There's an agenda.
Very strongly for it.
I also think it's suspicious when people define themselves by sex acts. So I don't really. I'm all about the individual.
Nicely done. Yeah, I mean, if you're.
Am I the only one in here who occasionally has sex? Wait, hold on.
And shit. If you're a fucking crazy person on feet or. Whatever. As long as it's not like fucking dead people or kids, I don't really care. Go for it. Like, you are who you are. I don't really need to know what you do behind closed doors. And unwilling participants. I'm like, Jesus, I don't care. I don't know why this is a constant stream of conversation, but I guarantee you it's because of the puritanical left and right that loves to make sex this very, very
it's not the
every
sex.
time they talk about it. Meanwhile, they're fucking freaks like you would never believe the day is long. So anyway, we will not go on a rant.
Lady.
No ranting.
Gorgeous.
I am silencing myself because I will go off on a really bad tangent. So, do we have any other questions? Can you guys actually see the questions here? Any others that, there's actually some.
We're not going on a rant. You're going on a rant.
I think a couple of them will make us rant, and almost all of them we've covered, actually, outside of that. Clan slapping.
I can't read these comments anymore. It's killing me.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I don't know. I'm looking. Everything else we've actually covered.
Oh, the homosexual agenda.
She froze. No. She froze.
Yeah, I did.
She froze.
I'm still here.
Okay, so
you see me?
What was that?
Did
you have a point?
Okay. Yeah. No, it's like I was.
Wait.
Did we make our points of the homosexual agenda? Are we done?
Her face right now is priceless. Like, bitch.
No, it's not. No, I mean, I was just saying it's not a.
Freeze.
No, here's a question. There are.
I don't know. I thought you really had to show in the class.
I was saying there are two ways of looking at the homosexual agenda from the libertarian point of view, and one is do whatever you want to your fucking sex life. The other is I keep on being able to see you. I guess I'm cutting out. The other is whatchamacallit, since I guess Let's not make marriage a state-run institution. Let's get rid of it as a state-run institution altogether, and that way everyone has equal rights, i.e., both gay and straight marriage is no longer a thing. So that's the way to really make it a libertarian thing. So, but I think as long as it's still as long as it's still a state-run institution, and the state has its nose in that contract, I think that they should both obviously have the same rights. I don't know if everyone can still hear me.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm all about.
Yay!
Yeah, is that where
So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I say this as I think the only person on the panel who
I'm nodding.
occasionally
I mean,
sleeps with women. So
I don't
Well,
understand
like,
why
what,
anybody
gay
would
marriage?
want to
Are we getting gay
interject.
married? Yeah, we're all getting gay married.
Yeah, I do.
It's happening.
who occasionally sleeps with people of the same gender as me. So,
My point is, I don't understand why people want to interject a third party into the relationship like government, certainly in a homosexual relationship. When marriage contracts restrict rights, they're not a concurrence thereof.
Gotcha.
So I think there's a big misconception here that somehow it's a right when it actually limits your behavior. It actually limits what you can do. I'm all for it. I'd vote for it in my state insofar as it gives them tax breaks. I don't want anybody to pay any extra taxes, and I don't want the state to get more tax money. But I mean, insofar as why just keep it a private relationship. If I'm with a woman, I don't need to go get a marriage contract. It's entirely voluntary. Moreover,
yeah, here's the thing. I think people see it as an equal rights thing. So I mean, if one of them's going to have it, then the other one should too. That
people have a right to a contract, then a government contract, a clearly defined contract, and why? And where does that right lie? Is it a natural right or is it a constitutional right? Where does it exist? No,
if the state's going to give it to. If the state's going to give...
It's not a real right, but it's one that exists.
Yeah,
and logically, you want to...
If the state's going to give you and your shitty relationship that right, then it should give, like, my sister and her wife that shitty right, too, okay?
I don't know where it exists as a right, though. Is it a constitutional right, a natural right? Where is your right to a marriage? Is it a social right? One that the government merely recognizes?
It's apparently one from the government, so if you... It's apparently one that the government gives. So if the government grants it to you, like I said, you and your whatever relationship, they should give it to everyone else in their whatever relationship.
The Ninth Amendment, it's a good standby.
I mean, I don't know.
Oh, cut the shit.
Saying a right exists,
cut the crap.
That's all I'm saying. I don't know where this is what, I mean, the left says this, you have a right to health care. They say the Ninth Amendment.
Will, you're a constitutionalist, okay? I have debated with religious conservatives all day long about this, okay? Yep. Do you have equal protection under the law as a citizen of the United States to own and transfer property and to be equally represented in a court in a matter of a disagreement that the state officiated in, i.e. marriage, divorce?
Oh.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Okay. Here's the thing. Here's a fundamental problem with the 14th Amendment. No, that's not represent. The 14th Amendment it applies to people, not behavior. It applies to people.
Right,
not
these
behavior.
Are individuals. These are individuals that have chosen.
It applies it has nothing to do with it.
You had a counterpoint.
Moreover,
yes, very simple.
No,
Hi,
has nothing to do with it.
Okay,
has zero to do with
very simply, a marriage is a contract between two consenting adults. You have a right to contract because you own yourself.
No, where? Are you talking about Wagner? No, you don't have a right.
Yes.
Well,
if you own yourself, you have a right to make a contract with other people. I'm not talking about the fucking Constitution because the Constitution is a piece of paper that has done basically nothing.
Is it a natural? Is it a natural law that the body politic should back up a contract?
If you own yourself, if you own yourself, you have a right to make an agreement.
You can do that. Certainly, privately, you can do so. Why does the body politic have to back up that contract? I'm just saying, hold on a second.
Exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. The body
but
politic has
so we
absolutely
agree.
no business being involved in
But there's no
individual
disagreement here.
contracts.
I'm saying
in
the same
private
thing.
contracts of romantic relationships. Because they're attempting
How
and
so?
have gotten defeated by
How
trying
so?
to stop consenting people of same-sex relationships. So both of them have a vagina, or both of them have a penis.
I'm going to ask a simple question
Get
here.
married? That's how simplistic.
I'm going to ask a
Let
simple
me finish,
question.
Will. You fucking
gonna
Italian.
ask
I'm
a very
Italian Irish. I will defeat you in this. Give me a moment, okay? Listen to me, alright? You rugged motherfucker, listen. Here's what you have right now, is you have the state institution that has tried to insert itself because of past religious bullshit where clergymen were in positions of political power. That actually created this entire structure of rule of law that we're trying to operate in 2015 under. That is ridiculous, number one. The law has to evolve or the law becomes irrelevant, right? The Constitution, I believe, has done many great things, basically attempting to start America on a path to freedom, which the people can control its destiny, but it has done many, many great things, despite its flaws. If you have an institution of law continuing to impose on free people that are citizens under this law that don't believe in the superfluous and very religious specific or civilization specific, if you want to go that far, constructs that want to have equal protection of the law, you have a problem. If I'm a person that, and again, I'm strictly dickly. I just care about equal rights of Americans that literally are paying taxes, which they shouldn't have to do anyway, paying taxes, hardworking people, good friends. They are being denied rights of property, and they are being denied rights of legal representation equally. That is the basis of the entire issue.
So marriage.
Tiffany,
marriage is a
trying
property.
very hard to say something.
So what you're saying is
I'm married to a
So what you're saying is I have no shot.
I love you. But I'm a great wing woman, girl. Oh yeah.
Oh. I love you too.
That's okay. That's all right. If that doesn't work out.
No, I have a man in the next room. It's okay.
If that doesn't work out, I'm your wing woman,
joking.
girl.
I was just making a joke for the clergy. Oh. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. All right. So it's okay. Creep. Some people are entertained by me creeping you. It's awesome. So. Right. I'm gonna duck out so that Lucy can creep back in here.
Get it, girl.
So it's been fun, you guys. But like I said, there's food and man in the next room. So talk to you guys later.
Where you actually have I don't care whether you want to call it negative rights or positive rights or constitutional rights or whatever. It's literally equal representation under the law of if I am a gay woman. But if I'm a gay, okay, but let's take it out. Let's take it to its original meaning. I understand the Constitution. I get it, right? I understand the entire purpose of equal representation of law. I've read all of the scholarly journals. We are on the same level. What I'm telling you is that modern interpretations of the law have to evolve, okay? So if I am a person that is modern interpretations
Wait, what? Say that part
the
again.
law
Modern interpretations
have to continually evolve. And they have to continually evolve to protect the minority against the constantly evolving majority. The majority one day could be radical. No. I'm getting into very practical theory here.
You're getting into the Madisonian dilemma. No, you're getting into the Madisonian dilemma, which was well known at the time of ratification.
Well, I'm actually
moreover, man's relation to man isn't a function of time. So law is not a function.
Because they were actually the opposite of that. Yeah, that's why my Constitution is a law. Oh yeah, he was also a slave owner. So
Lee Rutledge was a great founder.
So John and Edward.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is the left uses the same arguments in order to usurp the free market. They use the same arguments in order to usurp our liberty. Moreover, it's not a living document. It was.
Yes, but we know there's a difference, Will.
Right.
Well, we know there's a difference between impeding on the market and guys,
let's not get on
1800s slavery was okay and that needed to change. We know there's a difference. It's not the same thing simply because it's an evolving legal system.
Can I give a little side note? Just a quick side note. I write extensively about this on the Analytical Conservative, so you can look at it. I also write about slavery. I also write about marriage. I write about marriage in depth. So that's my point. I'm not so much about I'm about how these things are decided, not so much about the ideological position of either side. I would, like I said, I'd vote for same-sex marriage insofar as it provides tax benefits.
Okay, so
but what I'm saying is, there's a legal institution.
And I am in a marriage, and I have another person who is in a marriage, and we no longer agree, okay? I can't go to a private court. I have to go to a state court. And that state court is going to issue me, yes, and they're now going
they
to
enforce contracts.
Extrajudicious, like you have to, it's not even extrajudicious, it's underjudicious. That's why it's been struck down and destroyed, because it's retarded. I go in as an equal person, but because the person that I entered this contract with has the same sexual part as me, I don't get the same protection under the law. That is really ridiculous. Like, that is not how, that's not how free people should operate in a free society.
Okay. But when you say you have, when you say you have the same protection under the law, you're saying that there's a constitutional right to marriage. I don't see where that is.
I mean,
are you saying there's a natural right?
Almost a positive right, which I'm an advocate against positive rights. But hold on, there's nowhere. You define it as civilization progresses. Like, it doesn't need a constant reference in history. If it is now relevant, that you need a right, and it's common sense and it's human rights. It's individualist based. I mean, wait, what do you mean?
Tiff,
am I breaking
I am
up here?
legit not sure what you're on about right now. I'm not sure what exactly you're talking about or what you're disagreeing about, I guess.
Like, where is the actual basis for this right in, constitutionally?
No, you said that there's...
Yeah.
You brought up equal protection. You brought up equal protection under the law. You're talking about the 14th Amendment. It's not in the Constitution a right to marriage. So I'm asking, where does this stem from? Where is this right to marriage? Is it a natural? Hold on. Is it a natural right?
Yeah.
Is it life, liberty, property, and the right to marriage? Or is it, in the Constitution somewhere that I don't see that you have this right to marriage? Or is it left to the states? I don't know. Who decides
I'm sorry
these
if I
things?
wasn't clear. I totally misunderstood what you were saying. I'm sorry. I'm used to arguing with conservatives all day long. And you're awesome, Will. That's why I love you, and you're combative, and it's great. Forgive me if I misread anything.
No, I'm just saying you don't need the government to be married. You don't need the government to be married. Say you're married to whoever you want.
Institutionally.
Yes.
Well,
exactly.
No, the government offers a contract. The government offers a contract because there's a market for it. People want it. Generally, it's women. Generally, women want it to protect their investment in their relationship because they forego accumulation of human capital in the marketplace. It protects them. That's why they still have it. There's a market for marriage contracts. It works just like the free market does in any other sense. I mean, as a libertarian, you should say, why do I need the government to recognize my marriage? Why is there this... I mean, the left usually uses this mantra, you have a right to health care, you have a right to a living wage, this right nonsense.
But there's immigration and there's medical...
I argued a couple hundred years ago, it was men that were looking after contracts to secure women as brides and property. So if women want to do that now, that's disgusting, because they should be more highly evolved than their male predecessors.
I'm not saying that's what they do. But I'm saying it restricts rights. It restricts me if I enter a marriage contract. It restricts my rights. It restricts what I can do. I can't just run out on my family. I'd have legal recourse, or she would have legal recourse. So let's say that she's the breadwinner. I'd have legal recourse if she took off. That's what I'm saying. I mean, if I buy, let's say in some states, if I buy a home, automatically me and my wife, we share assets. There's a certain reason for that. Oliver Wendell Holmes once said, "The life of the law has not been logic, but experience." And that's why this law has been drafted. It's over 100 years. Marriage existed long before government. It'll exist long after. That's just my point. But I don't understand where the right comes from. It's not from the 14th Amendment. That was to ensure the freed slaves would have equal protection under the law. It's not about marriage. So that's just my point.
I would like to leave it to the states
I just
because I
want to
think
leave
the
it to
federal
the
government
states.
is defunct and incapable of actually managing anything on this magnitude. That's what my point was. I understand the historical precedent of the 14th Amendment. Do you think that the 14th Amendment that the actual sentiment and the legalese and the arguments that built up to its actual ratification, do you think that none of those arguments apply to people who are trying to enter same-sex marriages and actual establishments of estates together and sharing private property together? Do you not think... Well, hold on.
Well,
that's where I was getting before Meg hinted that I apparently wasn't making sense. I'm sorry. But that's where I was getting. Like, I wanted you to understand that just because there's a history to that specific amendment, right? Like, okay, so women get the right to vote in this amendment, but now we're denying this group, imagine, now we're denying this group the right to vote. Well, that was only for them, but the spirit and the underlying concept of it should apply across the board.
I think we're pretty much all on the same page that you should be able to marry whoever you want, and that it's really absolutely none of the government's
I like the way Meg's thinking right now.
Sorry.
But what I do have to do is I have to...
Yeah, so what's your legal argument then?
My legal argument?
Yeah.
Meaning that there is no... Marriage is not mentioned whatsoever in the Constitution, therefore it's left to the states via the 10th Amendment. The people in the states decide who they're going to give contracts to and who they're not going to give contracts to, insofar as they regulate behavior, not the individual, not people. Okay, so certain cases like loving, you can't regulate interracial marriage because now you're limiting people based on skin pigmentation. But what laws do, the purpose of laws is to restrict behavior. Most laws are enacted to restrict somebody's behavior, murder, theft, so on and so forth. Okay, what we're doing is defining people by a behavioral aspect of their life. I don't agree with that. I think that's stupid. I don't know why people want to identify themselves with a group as gay, lesbian. Why? I don't really want to know what you do. I don't tell people what I do. I don't get what that's coming from. But it's more groupthink. That's what it is. It's just groupthink. This is what the left does. They define you by sex acts, what's below your waist, your skin pigmentation. This is all a push towards statism. When I get married, I have to have the government recognize it. No, you don't. I'm just more concerned about the Catholic Church recognizing it, let alone the state. What do I need them for? I don't understand.
I don't think identifying yourself by a non-statist label is necessarily bad. I think it's dangerous to go even in that direction. That's kind of what you were implying, though.
I don't need the state to recognize my relationship.
Well, saying, yeah, I know, but you were just saying, I think it's sort of dangerous to, it's a group thing to label yourself as
it's based on an action. If I play video games...
it's categorization, which is kind of necessary for,
an individual. I'm not a category. What do you mean?
Yes, you're an individual, but you have categorized yourself as some sort of libertarian, as an American conservative. Labels like that are useful for identifying and understanding
I'm identifiable by being a white male.
Things.
You can infer everything about me solely because I'm a white male. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely not. But you have lots of different groups with which you identify in some way.
I identify with I'm Will Ricciardella. I'm an individual. I don't identify with any group. I have a family. I have friends. I don't identify with anyone. I don't think that people with a different skin pigmentation are different than I. I don't think that their motives are different than I. I don't think that incentives work differently on them. I'm not into the whole categorizing. I don't think that women are different from men.
But you can classify yourself and your experiences and define who you are as an individual by certain labels and categories.
I don't think that.
Otherwise, you wouldn't call yourself the Otherwise, you would not call yourself the American conservative. Otherwise, you would not call yourself a male. Otherwise, you would not call yourself straight. Otherwise, you would not call yourself a libertarian.
It's the analytical conservative. These labels because I'm analytical insofar as I'm only concerned with the truth. I'm not concerned with label. I don't.
Oh, analytical.
Yeah.
So you're analytical. So that's another descriptor that you would. There are lots of analytical people that fit into a group of analytical people.
But ladies, I'm sorry, I gotta run. It's run late. I'm really sorry. I gotta go. I have to go. I'm sorry. Meg, it was a pleasure to meet you. And Lucy, you're always great. And Tiffany, you're better looking clearly in person. I think this is in person, isn't it? I'm also slightly buzzed. But I appreciate it. Is she gone? It's
in person-ish.
Meg, it was very nice to meet you.
It was nice to meet you, Will.
I know. Right?
I'm not really.
We got into a really good debate though, so it was good. But I gotta take off. I'm sorry. You too. Bye.
Have a good night. Bye. Are you back, Lucy? Hi? Maybe back? I can't hear you. Oh, you're muted. You're now unmuted. Hi, Lucy. Okay, now you're too loud.
Hello.
Okay, Tiffany has left us. Our two guests had to go. Maybe Tiffany's gonna come back. I don't know. But that was fun times. I'm trying to put Tiffany back on.
No, that was not fun times. I did not get to eviscerate him. I was about to destroy him on... Okay, I was going to literally break it down. Okay. I am going to have an offline conversation and debate. I think we actually should elevate this to a debate as to why actually the 14th Amendment, regardless of what its initial application was, does have political and legal relevance. Jesus, I mean, courts have supported this. You have to have equal.
I don't need to be involved in that conversation because I don't believe in it.
I know. Yeah, but it was great. I understand. But you have to understand, he's a conservative libertarian, so it's really, really great to actually to hear that discerning opinion. Will did a great job, and so did Yvette, and that was awesome. So we should actually wrap up. We are over time. Not long though. Actually, only
we're
like
always
20
over time.
minutes or so. I know, because it's great. I mean, who wants to cut off and be an asshole and just not answer questions? So, anyways, thank you all for joining this ridiculous, amazing, fantastic rendition of Bourbon and Bitches, and we will be back next Tuesday at 10:30 Eastern. If you have some hate, we can probably start an after party. Meg, if you can create a link and you want to, we can have a little free-for-all, a Q&A. I know there's quite a few viewers here that are like, no, I want to hash it all out. But yeah, we can actually
you'll need to create a link, Tiffany.
Oh, because I'm under my little master account over here.
Yes. I can actually do that. And post it in the Facebook event page.
Yep, I got it. So anyway, thank you all. Sorry for everyone that we did not answer your questions. Awesome. Because I opened up an internet browser.
Oh, dear
Can you
God.
hear me at least now? Yes?
Never do that.
I opened up an internet browser. God forbid that will destroy all of my internet connection. Thank you, Comcast, you cock-sucking bastards. And we'll edit that one out later. But anyway.
No, that's
you know,
on the internet.
You're so terrible. I hate you so much, Comcast. No, I've already had toes. You know, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna go toe to toe with your social media coordinator on your page and just eviscerate you. And it was actually pretty beautiful. And no problem solved. I'm sorry our equipment sucks balls. I'm like, yeah, well, that's great. I'm sorry you have a monopoly on this right now. Just wait till Google Fiber comes to Clarksville, Tennessee. Woo! Got a revolution coming here. Nope.
I'm getting Google Fiber this year.
Oh, I hate you. I had it in Dallas and it was the best fucking thing ever.
Just come live with me.
You have no idea. You know what? We're obviously going to be visiting, so it could be a possibility. You never know. I'm going to post a little after party for whoever wants to have a little Q&A. This is in the chat. and then post it wherever you want. But now that we've had a very long-winded goodbye, thank you so much for everyone that tuned in. It was actually a really good show out. And all the questions that we didn't get to answer, I apologize. There were literally 25 of them. So I am really happy that you guys actually wanted to quiz the panel.
Wow.
Yeah, and all the people that actually asked questions, if you have future panelists that you think would be a great time, bring them on. I think it would be awesome. Get them in, mix it up, rustle all the jimmies, stir all the panties. Get it done. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Have a great night. And if we see you at the after party, rock on. Pun intended. Cheers.